and thinking that they don't have to do anything to address the problems that we face in the world today, because in 2012 the world's going to change and they're going to be saved, or there's going to be earth changes and we're all going to be back to the caveman era or whatever. I mean, I think a lot of people look at the 2012 date and they'll use it as an excuse for inaction, unfortunately. I think what it provides us with is an opportunity for a positive evolution of this consciousness, but it's up to us as to whether we embrace that opportunity. I also believe that the human race, the human species, is a collective consciousness. If you look at the work of people such as Bruce Lipton, for example, he virtually proves that the body is simply a biological computer and that it's downloading consciousness from the surrounding field. Consciousness isn't actually local to your body. It exists in the energy field around you. The space between you and I is not empty, it's full of energy, and it's within that energy that consciousness lies. Your body is simply a biological computer that downloads one frequency from that surrounding field that you experience as agape and that I experience as max. That's all it actually is. And I think a lot of the New Age movement has forgotten that. I think a lot of people sit there in their little meditation bubbles and their New Age spirituality bubbles, and they believe that if they just focus on what is good and ignore everything around them, then they will ascend to fifth dimension. And I think they forget that it's all about the self, and there's actually only one self. We are all part of the self, and you're never going to cause the self to ascend by ignoring the plight of others. I think that's the important thing. People think, be the change you want to see in the world, and so they lapse into this love and light mentality where all is love and all is light. But they don't look at it holistically, because what they're doing when they do that is they're saying that the change that they want to be, that they are being, is a change that is all love and light within this little personal sphere, but is allowing all of this suffering to go on around because of their passive acquiescence to this suffering. I think we could turn and face the shadow collectively, which is our governments and what our governments are doing to the planet, and the corrupt corporate interests that are in control of our governments, what this section of human consciousness is doing to our planet. I believe we could turn and look at that, and we could face that shadow, and we could literally heal it in one moment if we were to just turn and face it as a collective. I truly believe this, and that's why I do what I do. I'll speak out again about love and light, and I'll speak out for positive energy, but I will never stop addressing the corruption. I'll never stop addressing the polarized energies that are in control of the planet, because I believe it's important that we face them and eliminate the power that they have, because that's all it would take to eliminate, is to face them. I don't wish harm to any of these people. I don't care if the Rothschilds own all the stuff they do. I don't care what all these ruling families have done. I love them. I don't care what they've done. I just don't want to give my power to them anymore. I don't want to see other people suffering because of the power that they hold over the collective human psyche. And I want people to understand that it is their willingness to give that power away to these people that causes the problems. That, I think, is the essential part that a lot of people miss. That's what I've been trying to promote to people. That's what I've been trying to help people understand, is that it's our acquiescence to this corruption. It's very, very important that we turn and face this corruption to eliminate it from the world. You're not going to do it by sitting there meditating with crystals and thinking that the world is all love and light, because it just isn't that way. It's a collective, and that's what I absolutely believe, and that's why I do what I do, and that's why I say things in the way that I say them. I want people to look at this negative information, but understand that it's just information. What's negative is the emotion that they're attaching to it, but they need to know this information. They need to know these problems exist, because if you don't know what the problem is, then you don't have the opportunity to fix the problem, and the problem isn't going to be fixed by itself. You don't need violence, you don't need guns, you don't need anything. You just need to look at it and realize that it is there, and then walk away from that power. Don't give these people the power that they have that allows them to carry out these atrocities.
Yeah, that's a very important important point you made right there, because I know that many people have this problem, which they themselves are not able to identify, is that they misunderstood the whole concept of getting away from negativity, and they twisted it into ignoring certain parts of our reality that are happening, and they are basically using the light as a shield from this, and they're just living in fear. You know, it's a camouflage fear that they're living in, and it's too bad that such a thing is happening. And I think it's a very important issue to address in a very neutral way, because again, I totally understand what the people are trying to achieve, and I just think that some things are being misunderstood and misinterpreted. So Max, do you see a wave of global unity, like a real one, real unity around the planet, where heart-based people who want to do real work, who don't want to only talk, are coming together all around the planet, and then we need to take this opportunity and this chance right now and do something about it and connect with each other and use our networks and connect between organizations so that we can actually see this positive change of consciousness on this planet happen?
Oh, very much, very much. That's exactly what we need to do. We've got to unite now. We really do. We really have to try to push this forward. And it is a global thing. It is happening globally. And I really see a huge groundswell happening, and it's gaining momentum more all the time. It really is. Like a year ago, I was just hoping that things were going to happen, but now I'm really seeing it. What's been achieved simply out of these meetings that we're having, and as I said, the way it's all just calling in with what Miriam's doing, with what Ben's doing, with what all these people are doing. They're all doing the same thing. The same as these meetings that I'm having here, and this empowerment that we're giving to the community, and people actually coming back into their power and realizing the power of community. It's happening on a global scale. And it's happening because the conscious energy field is changing. But as the human cavity resonance rises, it is changing. People are changing. There'll be many people that won't wake up at first, and that's fine. That's okay. But just as long as we lead by example. Now, I think one of the most important things we can do is plant food gardens everywhere. Get permaculture growing in as many places as you can. I really think that that's one of the most important things you can do. But I really do see a global groundswell just happening right now. It's almost like at the final minute of the final hour, humanity is actually rallying to the call, and more people are coming on board all the time. So these group meetings, these community meetings that we've started a couple of months ago, these have been fantastic because we've allowed it to just be this organic thing. There's a lot of people that have tried a lot of meetings, and that's exactly what's happening with Miriam as well, and with you and all the people that have been called in. It's just an organic thing. It's just growing, and too many people have tried to do things like this, and they've kept it structured. They've said, okay, we need to do this, and so we've got this problem, so we need to go and create an alternate community or something, which is all very well. You want to go and create an alternate community, but what they're failing to address is the problem that has given them the need to even go and create an alternative community. Why do they need to do this? So they're running away from the community they have and going to create a little one over the side of you and hope that no one notices them. Well, eventually they're just going to get stomped on like everybody else. There's no way you can hide from what's happening. The only way to do it is to create this groundswell. And this groundswell has started. It's happening right now. And we've created this group, and it's just grown organically. And a couple of weeks ago, it absolutely centered. It totally grounded itself in the energy of the earth or something. I don't know what happened, but it was an incredible meeting. But at the end of the night, it was 2 o'clock in the morning, and I couldn't sleep. And I was getting messages on Skype from people who were at the meeting, can't sleep. Meeting. And something I want to say about the place where I'm doing this, which is quite remarkable, really. There's been a lot of talk over the years about the birthplace of man, and there was speculation for a long time that man came out of Africa. There was even a TV series called Out of Africa, which showed how the humankind was born out of Africa. They found that the fossil Lucy, I think it was, which they claimed to be the oldest person. But if you look at the African genome, you find that there are 7 different genome types in the African Negro. And they say the more diversity of genome, then the older the race. And when you look at the Australian Aboriginal, you find that there are over 30 different genomes in the Australian Aboriginal. And you also find that there's been Aboriginal skulls that have been found all around the planet, all through Europe, through South America, through Africa. This has all been found since they claimed that man first came out of Africa. And so it would appear that the Australian Aboriginal is actually the oldest race on Earth. These are very likely the original race on Earth. And when you talk to the Australian Aboriginal elders and you ask them where their race came from, where was the birthplace of their race, and they say it was the very region that I'm living in right now. They call this the cradle of life. We call it the green cauldron. It's a particularly fertile area of the planet. There's over 30 metres of topsoil here in this one particular area. It's some of the best soil you'll find anywhere. And they call this place, the Australian Aboriginal call this place the birthplace of their race. And so when these meetings suddenly organically formed, and then things started calling in from around me, and then things like, as I said, Ben coming over, Freeman coming over, Miriam contacting me out of the blue yesterday, all of these things that are just manifesting and happening in this incredibly precise yet incredibly synchronistic order, exactly as we need them to happen. As soon as we had this website ready to go, bang, Miriam comes online with this whole global thing she's doing, which links it all up. You know, you see what I'm saying? All of this stuff. And when you look at the place that all this idea, well, for me anyway, was formed, and these meetings were formed as being the birthplace of man, something that I say at the meetings is that it's only fitting that it's going to be here, that it's going to be a very, very significant place in what is going to be the saviour of man, what is going to be the shift in human consciousness that changes the direction that we're going in, because this is the cradle of life. So it's only fitting that answers are going to be found here that are going to help humanity. I really believe that. I think it's a very powerful area. So I thought I'd share that with you as well.
That's great. Yeah, I've heard about those reports, and we also know that the indigenous people and the tribes are actually coming forward. Well, not all of them, but some of them are, and they're coming forward with their wisdom, saying something very similar. You know, they're saying that we will start to find things around the planet that will start to slowly change the consciousness of the humanity itself. You know, the things that have been hidden for a long time for very specific reasons, because it was planned like that, you know, for the sake of the evolution itself of consciousness, that they'll start to be explored, and they're saying many other different things, you know, and so I think definitely it is a very important time where we do need to come together, and I'm very happy that we as a group are coming together, because again we had very interesting synchronicities with, you know, with you and with Miriam, and we just happened to come all together in one time, and I think, you know, we're starting something very interesting in here and very true. So I'm very happy about that. So Max, would you like to speak a little bit more about the things you are planning with Ben Stewart?
Yeah, well, what we're doing actually, we're creating a new film, which is going to be quite different to anything that we've done before. And again, this is another organic sort of a process. Excuse me. We kind of had ideas about where we want to go with the film. And when we started filming it, some of the rushes and the footage that we were looking at, we began to see that it was possible to create so much more out of what we're doing. We've got a remarkable young Tibetan guy doing camera work for us, and he has an amazing perspective and an amazing sense of cinematography. And so as soon as we started seeing some of the footage that he'd been shooting, Because we're all there sort of telling him what to do. Oh, look, we want this like this, we want this like that. And he's looking at us going, yeah, no worries, we'll do it.